Hey guys, this is HD, and this is going to be another game between two higher level players, and it is actually going to be between SpoR, our yellow Zerg player here at the bottom right, versus Mishima, the blue Terran, light blue Terran at the top left hand corner. Now this map is one of the maps that is used for FFA and 2v2, so this is not a map that can be played in the ladder 1v1, so you guys can probably already tell that this game is more of a kind of friendly game between two players that is being played on the just a normal game service and not the ladder service. So these two players do know each other. There's actually another spectator in here as well. And the game was recommended to me on TeamLiquid.net by a user, I think his name was Shadow Reaver, I believe. And he said this game was pretty good, and I took a glance at it. It looked pretty interesting. Both players had pretty high APM. And it was played a few weeks ago. And both these players haven't really been familiar with Starcraft 2 yet, so they're probably going to just be playing more casually, if anything. But I thought the game was pretty interesting, and it showcased some pretty cool old school strategies, you know, mixing in with Starcraft 2 Brood War. And actually, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but that's someone messaging me on AIM. It's actually Husky. But anyways, yeah, this game is going to be pretty good. It is on this 4-player map, so the first Overlord is going to go out to the top right, which means, of course, the Zerg isn't going to see his opponent until a little bit later on. And as you guys can see, SpoR has actually got his worker rally point all the way to this mineral over here, and that's usually not where you want to put your worker rally. You usually want to put your worker rally point on the nearest mineral stack that is also close by your hatchery. That's if you want to be convenient, because right when the drones come out, they'll split either to the left or the right instead of having to go here and then have to travel all the way to these mineral stacks, which, as you guys can see, aren't as populated. If you're really good, then you'd actually just set the rally point separately every time a drone comes out to which mineral stack needs it the most. But that's a bit more of like a high-level strategy over just a casual play, and as I said, these two players are playing a bit more casually, but they are definitely good players, and it'll be fun to see who's going to win this game. Looks like our Terran player is just going to play standard, no cheese, get his racks out, 2 supply depots to block his ramp. Zerg player is actually going to go for a quick expo here, and he doesn't have a spawning pool yet, so very much akin to what we saw with Dimaga versus Lucifron, going for that fast expo before going for a spawning pool. And I feel like this is more of a residue of old Brood War, where players decided to fast expand before getting a spawning pool, which is perfectly legitimate in Brood War. But as players, you know, they get used to the game, everyone knows that now you need to get a spawning pool first before you get a hatchery. And I actually had the game speed on fast there, so excuse me for that. Yeah, so the scouting SCV is going to make its way in, and we'll see what use of the information Mishima is going to make out of SpoR's base. Meanwhile, this drone scout is actually going to get denied a little bit of marine micro there, but yeah, almost killing the drone. 2 more shots would have taken it out, but the drone is going to get away. And I would expect an Overlord sooner or later to kind of come floating by the side of the base, or perhaps the back of the base, just so the Zerg player can get a little closer and feel a little more comfortable with what the Terran player is doing. We actually see a quick spine crawler coming up here at the Natural Expo as well. So this spine crawler is a good idea for any Zerg that fast expands, especially since he doesn't have a spawning, or he did get a spawning pool after the hatchery. So it is going to be important that he has a spine crawler to help defend. And look at this factory being put in place of the reactor core, where the racks was at originally. So this is very clever from Mishima, and he's going to send out a quick double Hellion push, and yeah, the Hellions are going to come out right now, and I'm not sure if this spine crawler is going to be able to defend. Perhaps with the Queen helping as well, it might be able to stop these 2 Hellions, but we're going to see right now the Hellion does have 90 HP, which is pretty high. Probably these Hellions, if they want to, they can probably make it past this defense, and yeah, they are going to run, and the spine crawler is not going to get another attack off. The Hellions do make it inside the natural expansion, starting to burn away at those drones, going to hold alt to see their health. You guys can see that a lot of them getting railgunned by the Hellion flamethrower. Now these drones got to run away as well. This one Hellion is probably going to go down. Yes, it does, but one remains inside of SpoR's base. And so I don't think they've gotten any drone kills yet. Perhaps one. This Hellion does have 1 kill. And that's got to be a drone kill. There's nothing else really that the Hellion could have killed. And no Zerglings really coming out for SpoR yet, so pretty interesting that SpoR has decided to not get any Zerglings. And here you guys see the spectator of the game, Isang, saying if you ran in with 3, I'm guessing he means 3 spine crawlers, and SpoR is actually putting up 3 spine crawlers, then the Hellions wouldn't have been able to get in. And yes, so the Zerg player here has 2 queens, which is good. He's going to be able to keep those eggs morphing on those hatcheries, but really a Zerg player only needs 1. As long as he can keep up with his APM, he can move back and forth with 1 queen. And interestingly, SpoR has actually placed the layer at the natural expo as well, and he's getting 2 gases, so I'm guessing we're going to be seeing a Spire coming up, and there's an Evo chamber, and there's the Spire, yes, so we are going to be seeing some air here. That's the reason why SpoR decided to grab 2 gases here, because a Zerg player does need 4 gas in order to play Mutalisks. So we're going to see how effective SpoR's Mutalisk Harass is going to be on Mishima. Meanwhile, Mishima has gotten control of his natural expo. He does have a dropship, so it looks like he's playing standard Marine Medic with Marine Medevac with Marauders. Although to really play that well, he does need to Rax out with a reactor core, so we'll probably be seeing this Rax take the reactor from the factory pretty soon, or perhaps just building one of its own. So it's going to be a pretty standard game. We're going to be seeing Mutalisk versus the traditional M&M, and we'll see how effective it is going to be in Starcraft 2. Overlords here just kind of spreading out. It's going to be important for SpoR to really spread those OVs out and get as much detection and scouting as he can. And I'm not exactly sure why SpoR decided to get an Evo chamber. He's not going for a ground-based attack, so it's kind of a wasted drone and a wasted 75 minerals, because, I mean, I haven't even seen 1 ground attack unit come out for SpoR yet, so we'll see what the deal with that is. And Isang here is saying you shouldn't queue SCVs like that. So, as you guys can see, this is a pretty casual game, but basically the spectator is telling the Terran player you shouldn't have queued SCVs, and the reason for that is because queuing SCVs, just like in Brood War, it costs 50 minerals each time you do that. Now that's great and everything, but at the time that you queue those 5 SCVs up, you could have used those 250 minerals that were queued for something else, like a supply depot or another army unit. And instead of just queuing all of them up, the convenient thing is that, yes, all 5 SCVs will get built, but it would be much more efficient use of money to build the SCV one at a time, coming back every time the SCV is complete and then building it again. So that's something that higher level players use, and of course more casual new players would just kind of spam their SCVs inside the command center. And we're actually seeing another hatchery coming out for SpoR, so SpoR playing pretty well here. And here comes the Mutalisks. I didn't see this. The Mutalisks are going to make their way inside the Terran player's base. We'll see how much damage they can get off on these SCVs. All the turrets are down, so actually Mishima's in a lot of trouble. I don't think he's got much anti-air. He's very heavy on Marauders. Not that many Marines, and like I said, it would have been better if he had had a Rax with a reactor earlier than this. And now he's paying the price. Luckily his natural is well defended with plenty of turrets, but he's going to be in trouble. He might even lose this dropship here. And now SpoR is actually focusing the bunker. I don't agree with this. He should be going for the SCV line right now. Try to whittle that down and kill as many SCVs as he can. And yeah, he's going to go in right now. No, he's going to... Yeah, he's just going to pick off SCVs. And these 3 turrets in the back aren't going to be much help at all. Right now, Mishima really needs to get a lot more Marines out of those Raxes. And yeah, he is going to stim up and push these Mutalisks away. Although I feel like this Mutas probably could have engaged the Marines right there if they wanted to. Meanwhile, back at base, the Zerg player, SpoR, is just macroing, continuing to macro off 3 bases. So nothing much interesting right there. It looks like he's even pretty much just committing full on to this Mutalisk force, and why not? It's working. No real counter from Mishima so far. He needs a lot more Marines to deal with this, and he could even use a Raven or maybe perhaps Thors to help him a little bit with the anti-air against these Mutalisks. And here comes SpoR yet again, only a single lone turret defending this time. There is another turret in the back, but now these SCVs once again getting hammered by the Mutalisks in the air. About 4 or 5 going down, another one going down, another one going down. Finally, the Marines getting in there and pushing the Mutalisks away, but not